everyone, I'm Sally and welcome back to my channel Secret Life of a Seamstress. For today's video I thought I would do the Seamstress Tag questionnaire because even though I haven't been tagged to do this and I'm not sure if it's even still going on, I thought that I would do it just because it's a good way to kind of get to know people a bit better and chat about sewing, which I always love to do. So I thought I would do that as my second video just so that you can kind of find out a bit more about me, I suppose. So the first question is, who are you? So I'm Sally, as I said. I am a mum of 2 children, married with a dog, as you will probably see in a minute. I'm not sure where he is at the moment, he'll probably join in. I have my own business, Poppy and Primrose, selling handmade textile goods, and I also love sewing. Second question, when and why did you start sewing? So I feel like I've always been sewing really. I think when I was younger I used to sew a bit, do a bit of hand sewing, a bit of cross stitch, a bit of tapestry. Didn't really get into dressmaking until I was probably sort of teenage age, and then kind of dipped in and out of it. My mum, my grandma and my nan were all sewers, so it was always kind of around in my family. So I think it was always kind of there, and then when my children grew up a little bit and I had more time to sew, I started to sew for them and sew for my daughter, make little dresses for her, and kind of just snowballed from there. But I think I only just really seriously started to get into dressmaking probably a couple of years ago, and it was around the time when it, you know, the sewing bee came back and it kind of got fashionable again, and you know, brands launched like Sew Over It and Atelier and the Buttons started to become more fashionable, I suppose, and then I really started to sort of get back into it and think, yeah, I really want to do this. So third question, what is your favourite or most proudest make? I had a little bit of a think about this because I feel like everything I make, I feel like it's my proudest make at the moment, because everything I make is kind of quite different and I'm trying to learn new things. But at the moment I think it's probably this Pussy Blue blouse from Sew Over It, and this was for one of my Minerva craft blogger posts, and I chose this fabric online, and even though it was obviously described as a georgette, I didn't realise quite how sheer it was going to be and how difficult to work with it might be. And I thought when it arrived, I thought, oh, I'm never going to be able to make anything with that, it's so sheer, I've never sewn with anything like that before. But I just kind of visioned this pussy bow blouse because I thought it would make the most perfect, you know, combination, and so I thought, well, I may as well just dive in and have a go. And I took my time and it actually turned out really well, and because I took my time over it, I feel like everything kind of went really well. Like I did French seams and I took my time with the cuffs, try and be better at showing things to the camera, and yeah, I've never actually worn this yet, and I don't know if I will probably wear it at some point, but I haven't worn it yet. But I think when I wear it I'll feel really proud of it because it's probably one of the most difficult things I've made so far. Sorry, that was a bit rambly, wasn't it? Number 4, what is your most disastrous make? I've had many disastrous makes, but I haven't really kept hold of them because I probably should have, but I don't really like having things hanging around that I'm never going to wear, so anything that I've kind of made that hasn't worked I've given to charity, or I've ended up giving it to the fabric recycling, because I kind of just, I don't really like having them hanging around in my wardrobe. So I think the most disastrous makes I've made were probably ones that I made before I understood how different fabrics worked with different styles and different patterns. A couple of things that I made out of like a thick cotton where it should have been like a floaty rayon or a jersey or something, and they just didn't work. So I think probably it was when I was beginning, and you know, you just make everything out of cotton. I made a couple of things, probably something, you know, I tried to make a blouse out of cotton and it felt really stiff and just didn't work, and I thought, you know, I'm never going to be able to wear anything that make anything that I like. And yeah, I think I've probably got rid of most of those things now, unfortunately, so I can't show you any of them, but yeah, I've had a few disasters in my time. Number 5, what is your favourite place to go fabric shopping? We don't really have anywhere around Bedfordshire to go. We have a really good Fabric World, but they don't have a lot of sort of rayon or viscose or anything in there. It's mainly cottons and sort of furnishing fabrics. So I tend to shop online really. eBay. I love Minerva Crafts, obviously. They have such a great wide range of fabrics. I love looking on their website and seeing what they've got in. And John Lewis actually have got a bit better recently, at least near us. He's selling more viscoses and polyester fabrics rather than just the sort of Liberty really expensive cottons, so I do tend to pop in there whenever we're near. Otherwise I just shop online. Higgs and Higgs I love. Fabrics galore as well. Anywhere I see that has nice fabrics on Instagram. Material Girl Laura recently I bought from. Her fabrics are really lovely. Number 6. What is your most used pattern? I was going to do another video about this one actually, because my most used pattern so far this year has got to be this Megan Nielsen Darling Ranges dress. And I love this dress because when I was sort of getting back into dressmaking, I was looking around online and looking at the kind of dresses that I could make, and I saw this dress on the front and I thought, oh wow, I'd love to be able to make something like that. And it was kind of what gave me the drive and inspiration, I suppose, to get better at sewing again. And I've made about 4 of those dresses now in different fabrics, and I've also made blouse versions, so that's definitely my most used pattern, because I tend to make something and then I think, oh, I need to make more of these, and then I never do because I want to go on and make the next thing, or I see another pattern and I think, oh, I want to make that instead. So I've got many patterns that I do think I want to use more, but just haven't got around to doing it yet. Number 7, your most dreaded sewing task is? I think I have a few, but I think my worst sewing task is actually gathering. If you've got a dress or anything that needs to be gathered, I just don't like doing that. And I think it's going to sound really silly, but I don't like it because it's so messy because you have to obviously sew your 2 lines of long stitching, and then you sew your seams, and you've just got all these threads everywhere, and to me it just feels really messy, and I can't wait to just rip those gathering threads out and have it all neat looking again. But I just also hate just trying to get the gathers even, and I know there are many tips out there on how to get even gathers, and I probably need to learn more about how to do that, but I just tend to sort of do it by eye. But yeah, I think it's probably just because it's a bit messy and I don't like threads being everywhere, which sounds really silly, but there you go. So number 8, your favourite sewing task. I really like top stitching because it makes a really neat finish and it's just quite satisfying, you know, just straight sewing really and following a line and just seeing how it looks in the end. I like doing that, and I also like pressing. I don't know if that counts as a sewing task or not, but when you've sewn something like a garment or whatever and you come to the end and you give it a really good press and it looks really nice and finished, I really like that as well. Computer's going off. What is your favourite sewing entertainment? I think I've only just recently got into trying to listen to something or watch something while I'm sewing, because I used to feel like I just couldn't take it in while I was sewing and I couldn't listen or concentrate. But recently I've just had YouTube videos playing in the background while I'm sewing and I listen to them. Probably my favourite ones are Sew Over It. I've been known to listen to Sew Over It. Lisa Comfort vlogs on repeat, like what she's been making, fabric hauls and sew and tells and things. Also Crafty Pin Up I love, who's now what Abi Makes, and Rosa from Sewn. I love watching hers as well. Also recently got into podcasts, so because I run my own little business, I listen a lot to Sarah Tasker from #Authentic and her podcasts. She does one as well with Jane Carrington, Letters from a Hopeful Creative, I think it is. I'll try and link them down below, and they're really good for sort of people that run little businesses and keeping you motivated and sort of talking about the insecurities and things that come alongside doing that. So I like listening to those as well. Sometimes I just have the radio on, and sometimes I just have nothing on actually, because I quite like being in silence when you have the house to yourself and the kids are at school. Sometimes it's just nice to have some quiet, so I have been known just to be silent. Printed or PDF? Printed or PDF? I am more of a printed fan, I think, because even though I don't really mind the sticking together of PDFs, I don't think it ever comes together quite as neatly as your printed patterns do, and I do like to trace off printed patterns as well rather than cut them. So there is still that work there. It's not really, I suppose it's a bit less work, but there's something nice about having a printed pattern in your collection, isn't there? And I just kind of quite like having them and having the case and looking at them and keeping them all nice. But yeah, I do trace everything off, but obviously not everything's available in printed, is it? So I've got loads of PDF patterns, and I've just got around to storing them nicely in brown envelopes now with the picture on the front, and they look quite nice as well. But I think if you gave me the choice, I'd always go for printed. What sewing machine do you use? I use a Janome DC3050, which is fine really. I think it was about £300, £350. It's quite basic, it doesn't do any embroidery or anything, but it does do automatic buttonholes and some fancy stitches and things like that, and really it's all I need at the moment. It is, I think it might be a bit on its last legs because the presser foot keeps flipping down, and I've had it repaired once and they say that it's just been used so much that probably the presser foot needs replacing, so I'm going to have to think about whether to invest in having that refitted and sorted out or buying another sewing machine. But I've loved it. I've had it about 5 years, 6 years maybe now, and I've used it pretty much every day because I use it for work as well, and it's been really good, so can't moan about that. And I have a very cheap Toyota Overlocker, which is very unheard of in the sewing world. I think, I don't know, my husband got it for me and I don't know quite where he got it from, but it's quite hard to get parts and things for, so I think it's quite a rare breed, and I think I am going to think about investing in a newer Overlocker whenever I have the money, because it's not the easiest to thread and it's not always the easiest to use either, but I need to save some money first for that. Do you have any other hobbies? I like to read whenever I get the time, which isn't very often. I tend to read like a chapter every night when I go to bed, and that's about it really, but I do like reading. And I like walking the dog, I like going out as a family, getting our wellies on and going into the forest and, you know, having a nice walk and then coming home for a nice cup of tea and hot chocolate. Walking our dog as well, and knitting as well. I really like knitting, and maybe one day in another vlog I'll talk about more of my knitting makes with you. And that's it. So that was the Seamstress tag. I'll link down below the lady who set it up, as I said, and I will tag a couple of people. They might have already done it because this is so old now. I'm not sure if it's still going around, but I might start it up again, who knows. And I'll also list the questions down below, so if you want to get involved and do your own video, you can use those questions and use the hashtag as well. So I hope you enjoyed that. If you did and want to see more of me and my videos, please give me a like and a comment and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Bye!